Hello, peeps. Welcome to the new podcast room. Still working on some little details, but we're here. It's a new place where hopefully we'll be able to record all of our episodes, and it's comfy. I got nice little chairs. I have two, so hopefully there'll be some people in the future that can come in and we can do some in-person podcast episodes on different subjects. That would be super fun. But today, so I'm a little wonky today. I've been having some vertigo issues and migraines and all that fun stuff. So want to be totally transparent with you guys. My energy is a little lower than it normally is, but I'm getting better. And I have been deep diving into the last chapter of my new book and got that all turned in. And the very last chapter that my project manager wanted me to work on was something that I had been taking a master class on and kind of delving in a little bit. So just preface this by saying this is just food for thought. I'm not an expert on this subject by any means, but I am studying it. I find it fascinating. And I think that it plays a huge part in our UnMothered community because it is about silent agreements with the enemy, vows that we take, the I will nevers. There's soul ties combined into this. There's spiritual warfare. There's all these different kinds of subjects. But I wanted to talk about silent agreements and vows today because I think that inadvertently, when we go through any kind of trauma, we make these agreements that we hear either from our moms or from other people of authorities, even people in the church sometimes. Maybe well-meaning, maybe not. And somewhere along the line, we become in agreement with those things. And in turn, what that means is we're coming into agreement with an enemy. It's exactly where he wants us to be because then he will stall us from being our full potential self. I had a couple of things that has happened like over the last few years with dealing with clients and things where I'm going to tell a couple of stories of those so that maybe it can give you a little bit of direction of what I mean with these silent agreements and also vows. Vows are the I will never let fill in the blank, hurt me again or do this to me again. Vows are something that it's a person that has done you harm, either physically or emotionally. And in the back of your mind, you say, I'm never going to trust this type of person. I heard this from somebody that said they had been hurt by a middle-aged man. And the vow that I heard her say was, I will never trust a middle-aged man that looks like XYZ, right? But really what she was saying is that I'm going to cut myself off from trusting all men, and especially any kind of man that similarly looked like the person that hurt her. And the problem with that is that, well, you can see the problem with that. The problem with that is that that's simply not true. You don't go off of somebody's looks or their social status, their economical status. Like you can't judge one incident and say all men in this age bracket and that look like this are bad. But that's the vow that we make with the enemy. So now it's cut us off from certain people. What if there are certain people that look similar to that actually can help you in your career, help you emotionally? Maybe it's a therapist, maybe it's a lawyer, and you have knocked that person off because you're like, I don't want to deal with that person. He reminds me too much of the original offender. And so you make this secret vow, but what it does is it actually damages your future, the things that you want, the things that could possibly bring you to another place of happiness, because you've made this vow that you will never let this kind of trust enter into your world. What it actually does is the opposite effect. It actually closes you off from people that could be really gentle and kind and wonderful. The same thing with silent agreements. This was something that when I started studying this, I was like, wow, my mom did this a lot, where she would make these absolute statements. Well, you can't go to college because we don't have the money, and two, you're not that smart. You can't do this because you think that you're better than that, but you're not. And those kind of statements that were these blanket statements that I was like, well, that's really cruel. That hurt my feelings. But in the back of my mind, what I was doing was saying, is that true? Maybe that is true. I was coming into agreement with those things. And so for a long time, I held back. I was the fun girl. I could make you laugh, but there were things that I wanted to do in my life where I would hold back because I secretly agreed with the enemy and my mom. No, that's probably true. I shouldn't be at the front of the room. I shouldn't speak out when I need to speak out. And so what happened was, for a long time, I think there were things in my life where I could have gone further and I could have done more. But I made this secret agreement with the enemy. You're right. I'm not worth that. I can't do that. So I would look at all these other women and go, wow, what is that like? What is that like to be at the front of the room? What's that like to be the CEO? What is that like to be the big boss? When those things would be presented to me, I would shrink back. Oh, no. I'm not that educated. I can't do that. I'm not that smart. The things that had been spoken over me. I'm the peacekeeper. I'm really good at diffusing things, but I'm not the CEO type. I'm not the career woman type. So a lot of times there were things I really did want to do, and I wanted to reach to a higher level. But that was the secret agreement in the back of my mind subconsciously that I was telling myself that I couldn't do. When I was able to break that, that's the whole reason I'm here, is because now it's like I do have a voice. Actually, what the enemy was trying to keep shut, God had already put in my life. He was like, you are someone that has a voice. You are someone that can make a difference. I have made you that way, but I'm not going to force you. I want you to gently figure that out. And that's how a loving God is he's not going to push you into it before you're ready. Because when I look back, I was exactly where I needed to be at the time. I needed to raise my girls. I didn't need to be under the stress because emotionally I wouldn't have been able to handle that if I was a big CEO, or some women can handle that. That's not my demeanor naturally. But there were bigger things that I wanted to do. And so God, in his gentleness, had me wait until the girls grew up. And then he's like, now it's your time to shine. But if I continued to believe I didn't deserve it, I'm in silent agreement with these things, I can't do that. It's been spoken over me. I can't do it. I could have refused a lot of these things, these situations that started coming up. And let me tell you, the first couple times that I did my testimony on a stage, I sucked. It was so bad. I look back at it now and I'm like, oh, that poor girl. I had no direction. I didn't really know how to present a good talk. I had a lot of story. And I told a lot of story, but it had nothing to do with the people sitting out there of how this could benefit them and help them. It was just me like pouring out my story. It was like, I can talk now. I need to tell you everything. And so, wonderfully, I got to go to these different conferences and speaking conferences in particular and learn how to craft a story and really make that story impactful for you, the audience, to take away and say, that's food for thought. That's really good information. That's something I can incorporate into my life. And so even though you may have these secret agreements, and today it's like ding, ding, ding going off in your head going, yeah, that's the place where I'm getting stuck, is that I think I've made these silent agreements with the enemy saying, I can't because XYZ, someone told me whatever. And that's not okay. So now it's time for you to rewind, unwind it, untie all the knots of what has previously been spoken over you. How do you now know this is where God wants you? This is what feels right. You're going to know because it's going to light you up, right? I had a woman that came to me that said actually a pastor had come to her one time when she shared her testimony, and he said, you should never share that again. No one's going to want to hear that story. Just shut her down completely. It's not worth talking about. Just don't do that. No one needs to hear that. It's too hard of a story. And it frightened her back into this little tiny shell. She came into agreement with that. Well, the whole reason that the enemy was holding that tight is because her testimony is powerful. So she started to slowly, over the years, go, why can't I talk about this? Like, this is happening to other women. I think I have something to share, and I think I have something that can help them. And so as she shared her story with me, I was like, my gosh, this is an amazing story. You have to share this. There's so many women that have walked this walk, same kind of situation, and they can learn from you because now it's been, 20 plus years. And so she started slowly opening up, but there was a shame. And this is the thing with secret agreements, is there's a shame base to it of like, should I do it? Are people going to not like me? Are people going to look at me differently? And the answer to that is maybe, but that's not your concern. If a lot of people are doing that, then you got to reel it back and say, okay, what's going on? But if one person out of 100, which happens, it happens to me. I have people sometimes, occasionally, not a lot, every once in a while, somebody will slip into a DM or send me a private message and say, well, I don't think you should be talking about this, or I don't like the way you said that. And I'm like, great, then bye, move on. I'll take it into account, but I'm not going to stop what I'm doing because one person decides that hurt their feelings or that didn't sit well with them, or, they want to change up my whole persona. You're not living my life. You're not doing what I'm doing. I'm studying this as a living. Like this is my life. Like I am constantly learning more and more about trauma informed things, and I'm coaching women every day on how to live in this space when you've grown up without a mom, and how you can be successful and whole again. And so this is a passion for me. And so I will take into account when somebody has some constructive criticism. But if you're just coming at me from behind a desk on a keyboard because maybe you want to do that and you're mad that I did it, and so, now you're going to bash me. If I come into agreement with that, then the enemy has won. Do you see how that works? It's crazy. And so we think it's a person doing that, but really it goes a little bit deeper. It's like you are pulling yourself back, which is exactly what the enemy wants to do, because you have something fruitful to say to the world. And the enemy doesn't want that, because that's going to heal more people. And the enemy doesn't want that. And so you have to constantly be looking at, what is the mission in my life that God wants for me? What is the one thing that lights me up that I've been told maybe that I can't do it, but every time I think about it, it bursts out of me like I want to do it. It could be speaking, it could be, I don't know, it could be skydiving and showing other people how to overcome their fear. It could be playing the piano and having some kind of beautiful art that you're afraid to do, but that gives people joy. There can be things that are beautiful, beautiful gifts and callings in your life that you are not exploring because you've come into agreement with lies that have been spoken over you, and they're simply not true. That's exactly what they are, is lies. So I just want you guys to think about that. So a couple of things to ask yourself is, when you hear things, when you're reminded of things of your childhood, of like, well, that's just how we do it. We can't try it any other way, or you're never going to be able to blah blah blah, fill in the blank. Those kind of things need to be questioned. So just question those. Is that true? Is that a fact? If somebody says you're so clumsy, you could never do sports. I was told that a lot. It's kind of true. But I will say I joined a women's softball team, very, very like no league. It was very low on the totem pole, but I had the best time, and I found out that I'm a really good catcher. Like I love I did get hit in the eye. Okay. I know Tanya, if Tanya ever listens to this, I got hit in the eye. You know how on cartoons you see stars when someone gets hit? Yeah, I literally saw stars. I was like, oh, I cannot see anything. But that was my battle wound. But what it proved to me was that I could take a hit, I could do a hard sport, and I could do it well. And we had a lot of fun on that team. And it kind of broke that agreement that I could never do sports because I was too clumsy and I'm just not a sports girl. I would say halfway, I'm not really a sports girl. But I play basketball with my grandson now, and he's pretty impressed with my moves. So I think I'm pretty good. I think that had somebody given me encouragement, I probably could have gotten better. So broke that lie to say, am I going to be, a high ranking sports person? No. But can I do sports? Yeah. So I don't need to come into agreement to sit back and go, no, 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 I'm not going to touch any kind of sport thing at all. I try stuff, and then I see if I like it, don't like it, then that's cool. You can try it. The vows, when you say, I will never fill in the blank, let that happen again. I will never let this person near me. I will never. Those vows are absolutes. Now, concerning the thing that's happened, absolutely. You can say, I will never, like, I'll never let that person near me again. That's a vow you can take. But don't make that vow against the world. Don't make that vow against innocent people that haven't done you harm. That's going to isolate you, and it's going to limit you from people that can possibly be wonderful people that may remind you, it's going to trigger you back to a time. But that's when you do the self-talk, right? Hey, I'm here right now. That was before. This person isn't that person. Let's see what they have to say. Let's see who this person is. Let's not judge it by something that reminds me or triggers me back to that bad person. You may have to have someone come alongside you and help you with that. You may, if that's something, if you've been immensely abused or hurt, you may have to see a therapist. I would say not even may. You will have to see a therapist to just kind of walk through those things, learn some tools to not be triggered by certain events or people. Those are those vows that can really like damage you for your future, because you're going to make these snap judgments on every single thing based on that one incident, and you want to be careful about that. So again, don't let the enemy come in and destroy your whole life from one incident that has happened. Let's walk through that and get through that incident and see, let's like dissect it and like get through that and see how we can find some things that will help to be calming for you and trusting again, because that's an important thing. So I hope that this helped you. I think one of the things that you have to remember is you want to draw yourself towards good things and things that give you potential and that are going to give you a life filled with joy and peace. Don't veer towards things that are holding you in limitations or things that are making you fearful. Always, always ask God to show you what are the good things that can come even out of bad things, and show me the next steps, Lord. That's all you need to do. Question everything. Don't take your childhood past traumas and use that as just your stepping point to the next thing. Question everything that's happened within that relationship. And I think that's going to help you to start dissecting some of those things and saying, was that really true when she spoke those words over me, or that teacher did, or that coach did, or a pastor, whoever it was, a relative. Just find those things, dissect them, find out if they're truth or a lie. Ask God to show you something good to come from that. And I think that those will start helping you get to a better place. So until next time, I'll see you later, peeps.